historically, these screws that retain the rotors on are typically the hardest things to get off. Might have to heat it up. May not go willingly. All right, we will come back to the calipers here in a minute. It's been a couple years since these have been lubricated. They're definitely dry. If this car was not going to be out of my garage area, I would have let these pads go until they got to the squeakers. We probably would have made it to about 100,000, but we're just going to make sure that everything is good on this. We're going to lubricate the rear pads and slides and everything. So well, that was a miracle. I've never, usually I have to bang it. So that's nice that these just slid right off. All right. A lot of corrosion. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I like to have the backing of the rotor, which is the hub here, wheel bearing hub. I'd like to have this completely clean, or as clean as I can get it. I will then apply some anti-seize, which then will put the rotor up. You want the mating surface of the rotor to be smooth, flat, the way it was new, because what ends up happening if you put this over rust is that you can get micro variances on how the rotor sits, and the symptom of a situation like that would be you do brakes on it and maybe 2,000 or 3,000 miles, maybe sooner, the rotors are warped, or it has a warped feeling where you hit the brakes and they're just thumping along. So sometimes a warped rotor is not necessarily heat related, it could just be installation related from the people that did the work. Unfortunately for the user of the vehicle, if they're paying to have it done, it's going to be nearly impossible to verify what caused what. It would be when you take this all apart and you find out that there's rust all over and they just slapped it all together and went on their merry way, then most likely you're dealing with not so much of a overheating issue that caused the rotors to warp, but more or less an installation error. So let's get this cleaned up. And we're not just cleaning up the mating surface here, but I believe I have new hardware. We're going to verify that, but we're going to take this all apart. We'll go to the bench and work on getting this cleaned up and nice, because you don't also want a situation where the pads don't move because they're frozen. So okay, I bought coated rotors. It's a nice upgrade because it keeps them looking nice for a while. You know, from the factory, this is 5 years old. That rotor was coated, and you can see the outer in the hub area where the lugs attach. That area isn't corroded and rusted. It's not until you get to the heated areas, or the real heated areas, that the corrosion is really taking off. So pretty good for 5 years. The only thing here, what we're going to do quick is I'm going to take off my nasty gloves here that are contaminated with anti-seize, and we're just going to kind of clean up the rotor surface. All right, next we are going to clean up. I'm gonna go clean up our slides and everything. Now when it comes to the lubricating compound, I used anti-seize for behind the rotor, but you don't want to use that because it's a petroleum product closer on the braking stuff, because if it comes in contact with your pads it will contaminate it. I like to use Sil Glide for my slides. I also like to put a little bit on the backing of the actual pad to keep the backing plate from corroding and creating a weird brake pedal. There are other products designed specifically for caliper slides, so I'm using what I have typically used in the past and had decent success with. It's not saying that another product shouldn't be used over this, but this is what I have, so this is what we're going to use. We're going to put all of our pieces in. So first thing what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little bit of grease on the bottom of our newly cleaned up surface. This is more or less to try to slow down the corrosion process in our area is so very accustomed to. Okay. Then, okay, now that we have our clips installed, I'm going to come back and just apply some lubricant to the surface here where the pads slide around. Alright, what we're going to do here is we're going to compress the caliper. And you can use a special tool for it, which I do own, or you can do it this way. Come on. What are you doing here? There we go. All right, we're gonna make sure, we're gonna lubricate everything. This has been apart before, so I'm not too concerned, but since we're back here, we might as well make sure, since it's been at least a year, and it's really not hospitable with the gravel and the dirt.